What's up, everybody? It's Jimmy with Trading Decoded. It is 3:36 in the afternoon on May 21st. Market's still open, dropping like a rock, drop it like it's hot, drop it like it's whatever. Doesn't matter. I'm not there to trade it. But hopefully, if you stayed in the market, you waited for a good setup, there was some signs that you were going to get a move down. Didn't necessarily have to be an $11 move, but a move nonetheless. With that said, buy my book, join my Discord. Let's get into the charts. Love you guys, all the stuff, blah, blah, blah. Charts were good today when they were, and then they weren't when they weren't. Obviously, that sounds silly, but with that said, call put scenario, very simple. Put was, if we get below 515.86 on the Qs, we'd like to get down to this point here, not the yellow line, but the pre-market low support down there at 515.12. Which doesn't really matter because we didn't cross that line anyway. These lines, as always, are drawn. The call put scenarios, we discuss these at 5 minutes before the market opens every single day, okay? Fibs, correct me if I'm wrong, but you are 95 for 100 out of the call put scenarios, if I'm not mistaken. Guys, that's a pretty good win rate, 95%. Some might argue that that's not feasible, not possible. It is. It's super aggressive. So if you're not an aggressive trader, this is not for you. This is what I particularly like to play because I like to get out of the market as quickly as I can on a daily basis, not hang out and put myself on edge or put my money at risk all day long. It's not my goal. But with that said, our call line was 515 or 516.45 on Qs, and we were hoping at first to just make it to this resistance right here. And if we got through that, it would have been the next line up. Okay, as luck would have it, well, as you could see, the call scenario worked a charm. But here's the kicker, and this is the part that people really need to understand. First of all, I didn't know it was going to work. I'll never know, and neither will you. It has a very high chance of winning, usually, and it's only because we're breaking structure. It's just price action. It's not guessing. It's nothing else. It's probabilities. That's it. I try and keep it stupid simple. With that said, I was initially prepared for puts when we were talking about these things at 925 until, and this is crazy, but it's all it takes. Right? We were actually discussing this after this trade was over. We pulled down to and continued what was a downtrend, broke the downtrend here. Not a big deal in 925. We were still hoping for this to come back down, but it never made it back down. What does that make this guy right here? That is a higher low. That candle right there, and I said it out loud, guys, that's a higher low. I'm going to be ready for calls instead of puts now. It doesn't mean that it's guaranteed to work. I need to make that very, very clear. But I do not trade puts off of higher lows. Okay? That is no for me. So that's what switched me over for calls. Now, with that said, if you take this trade, it's still an aggressive trade. The reason we talk about these particular trades is so that you're prepared to do or not do whatever it is you want to do. I'm just telling you what I would want to see if I'm going to take the risk of any trade whatsoever. Because every trade is a risk. Because any trade has the ability to go against you. Not the probability, but ability. Okay? Take the prob off. All we're doing is trusting probabilities and hope that they work in our favor. That's it. So, call line. Couldn't get in as aggressively as I'd like to because the option chain does have to populate. Fortunately, this candle right here actually started out relatively slow, which was cool. It actually opened here, pulled back a little bit, kind of hesitated, and then it took off. So we were able to get in, maybe not at the greatest entry, but before the top. And it was the gift that just started to keep on giving. So we closed above the call line. Great. We're expecting to go up to here. Hopefully, that's where we had the alert set. I think we still have the alerts over here. Let's see. Qs, do we have an alert set at 5:17:16? Qs crossing. Oh no, 5:16:74. So we're. Oh, did I delete it? Must have deleted it. That's unfortunate. Either way, we got through resistance. We're hoping to get through the next resistance. Actually, I take that back. We were looking originally from call line to this lower high. We got through it with a candle close, which means we're aiming for the next target high, which was here. We got through that with a candle close, which means we're aiming for this target here. We got through that with a candle close, which means we're looking for this. Now, I was holding on to this trade, and once we got up to that final level of resistance, we were also at the pink line on the SPY chart as well. So, turned into a beautiful trade. However, I tried to hold on a little bit longer because at the time ADD was still printing green. I was hoping we were going to push a little bit more. And once ADD started printing red, even though the Qs were still printing green, I told everybody, I don't like this. I don't like the fact that ADD is already starting to print red. That's going to make it more difficult for SPY to continue up. I'm going to mark it out of my trade now. It's unequivocally, you could not have said I didn't say it because I said it. And then we pulled back. Now, did it continue to go up after the pullback? Yes, it did. Did some people hold on to that trade after I did? Absolutely. And that's okay. You trade your plan. My plan was I wanted to get from one place to another. I exceeded that point because of where it stopped. I wanted to get to the next one. We extended beyond that with a candle close. ADD was printing green. I tried to hold on longer, got to the next line up. Great. When it started to struggle and ADD. So ideally, there was one less factor working in my favor at this point. Here, all factors still looked good other than SPY being at the pink line. That's usually a line that I don't mess with anyway, so it probably would have been better for me to just take profits here. However, stayed in because SPY was pushing up, Qs were pushing up, ADD was pushing up. It wasn't until one of the three factors that we were referring to here was no longer working in my benefit. ADD was going down. I'm good. Take my profits. That was it. Some people held on because we pulled back. We never got in any spot where they were any close to being red on the trade, comfortable enough to hang on, put in higher lows. Higher lows proved to be a good thing. We started to move up again, making it up to our next resistance. Okay, pull back. What is this? This is another higher low, but ADD was printing red. I don't trust that. I only get into trades aggressively when we're at resistance if ADD is moving in my favor. Let's go over 1, 2, 3 candles. Now ADD is green. And I had told everybody when we were down here and SPY was below the pink line, I said the only place I would be willing to take calls myself is if we got above, if we were above this resistance area on the Qs and SPY was above the pink line. So this would have been a great trade if ADD was printing green. For me, but once we pulled back, put in a higher low, I'm expecting resistance to fail. I just needed ADD to be green with me. It was. We got up to the next line. We hope to continue up from here. No trend lasts forever, but know where you're going to get out if you don't like what's happening. In my case, if we close back below support, get out of the trade. So that's why this circle's here. And then we got into quite a choppy mess. This was not a nice chart. For all intents and purposes at this point. However, after seeing the rejection up here for the 15th time, I said to everybody, guys, this is a pretty strong resistance up here. And as long as ADD is printing red and SPY is at resistance, SPY was in a downtrend at this point, putting in lower highs. I like this back down to the Q support. Again, great, clean trade. Everything looked good. SPY was coming off lower highs. Qs was at resistance. ADD was printing red. Beautiful trade opportunity. Not a huge trade, but a nice trade nonetheless, right? 1, 2, 3 minute trade. 3 minute trade. And you probably returned yourself somewhere about 20 to 23% on that. I don't know who wouldn't be happy with that kind of return. And then we talk about this all the time. When you do finally break a strong level of support or resistance, oftentimes the move beyond that point is pretty aggressive. Why? Because it takes a lot of selling to make that resistance. And when you turn those sellers into buyers, because somebody's at my front door. When you turn those sellers into buyers, because, guys, hang on one second. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. My water block for my new computer build just got here for my CPU. Now I just need the GPU one to show up. Come on, EK, do better. With that said, when you have a bunch of sellers there, you have the pressure of the buyers that keep us up against that resistance. And if they are strong enough, even for a minute, to close us on the other side of that line of sellers, there's a whole bunch of sellers that are now red in their trades. And in order for them to get out of those trades, they got to buy to close. That's what happens when you short the market, right? You got to buy your position to close it. Well, what's buying do to the market? It pushes it up. Now, I wouldn't have been comfortable buying this particular breakout simply because it was so strong. However, we get through. We did make it to the next resistance. We pull back and create what? A higher low. And what is ADD doing at this particular time, at this particular candle? It's printing green. Because of that, we're expecting to break resistance and head to the next one. The trade setup there was perfect. It was beautiful. And if you held on, boy, you have your nipple clamps on, because it took off after that and continued up. Once we got to resistance at the same time on both charts, always a great opportunity to consider taking your profits. Very next candle, guess what started to happen? ADD started to print red. Might want to consider taking your profits there. After that, we did trade sideways, slightly up. This would not have been a good thing to do. And then we got through supports. We got through this support. It ran down to the next support. Once we got through that, put in lower highs, well, we kind of just had a massive drop to the downside. And yeah, it's just crazy at this point. But with that said, I wasn't there anymore. Because I get off the charts or off the mic at 12 o'clock. Guys, what we do in here is me trying to teach you how to grow your accounts responsibly, confidently, because you know what you're looking for. No trade should ever sneak up on you, ever. Okay? There is a way that you can see these or know what you're looking for and wait for it to happen. That's the part that most of us struggle with. A lot of us lack the patience or the discipline to wait for what we know we want to see. And what's important about waiting for that is that you should be a lot more comfortable taking the trade when your trade setup presents itself if you've planned for it in advance. It doesn't guarantee a win. That is not the point. The point is if you're taking trades that you're taking uncomfortably, you'll never manage that trade properly. Plan every trade in advance. If it starts to move quickly and you didn't take a trade plan or make a trade plan and you jump into that trade, you're guessing, you're gambling, you're hoping. Sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. But no matter what, you will not be comfortable in that trade because you weren't properly prepared for it. Okay? That is the entire point of our community. It's not a call out service. What we talk about in there produces a very high percentage chance of winning trades. Whether I take those trades or not, meaning I'll tell you when I take my trades, right? It's usually one trade a day and it's almost always the call put scenario. And I tell everybody when I'm done trading for the day. It does not change the fact that the setups work way more often than they don't. And that is what you're in our community for. You need the confidence to take your own trades. Otherwise, you will be a dependent for your entire trading career. And there's nothing good about that, because when the person you're depending on is no longer there, what are you going to do? Start back from square one? Because as long as you're copying somebody else's trades, you're not retaining the information as to why you're taking them in the first place, meaning you're learning nothing. And that's not good. It's easy, and we all like easy, but it's not good in the long run for you. All right? So with that said, guys, If you got some useful information in this video, please like, share, and subscribe. If you'd like to join our Discord community, I'd love to have you. I'd love to be a part of your trading journey and help you become a better trader, okay? We do it responsibly in here. This is not a gambling session. I want you to start small. I don't want you to have daily dollar amounts. I want you to aim for consistency first, because until you can be consistent on wins, you have no business chasing a dollar amount. Because what the hell are you chasing if you don't know how to achieve it on a regular basis? All right. So if that kind of teaching style interests you, join us. First week's completely free. No payment information necessary whatsoever. No credit card entering. You don't have to remember to cancel nothing. Just show up. Give us a chance. All right. Also, if you can't be in our Discord room, or even if you can, consider buying my book. It's a good one. There's a lot of good information in there. Helps a lot of people. And if you do buy my book, please, or if you already did buy it, please leave a review on Amazon. I'd appreciate it, okay? With that said, I hope you all had a great day in the markets. Till tomorrow. I love you guys.